Imagine being singled out and charged $2,000 more each year than your coworkers just because you smoke, and your employer doesn't even give you a real way to avoid that fee. That's exactly what happened to Nora Ruiz, an employee at Bass Pro Shops. Now the company is paying nearly $5 million to her and thousands of other employees as part of a class action lawsuit. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding about your rights under your employer's health insurance plan and why it's so important to speak up if something at work doesn't feel fair. Because when you know your rights, you're empowered to stand up for yourself and make a difference. Hi, I'm Harlow Reed, employment lawyer, HR consultant, and creator of the HR Insider. And on this channel, I do more than share legal opinions. I break down real legal cases to show you how the law might apply to your workplace, whether you're an employee trying to protect your rights or an employer trying to do things the right way. So it's no secret that retail jobs don't usually pay high wages. Most clerks at big box stores are paid around the going rate in their area and sometimes even less. So when a story like this comes out, where employees are getting squeezed even more just because they have a habit like smoking, which costs the employer more in health insurance, it's a tough reality check. Groceries are sky high right now. The cost of living just keeps going up. And then on top of that, you're being penalized at work for smoking. That can be a really hard pill for people who are already just trying to get by. That's exactly why I wanted to talk about this case so you can be informed and know your rights. If you're experiencing something like this at your job, you'll know what steps you can take to protect yourself. Okay, let's talk about it. The content shared on this channel is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional legal advice. Always consult with a qualified attorney or HR professional for specific guidance tailored to your needs. And hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Nora Ruiz worked at Bass Pro Shops and was also a smoker. And on April 26, 2024, she filed a complaint against the Bass Pro Shops in federal court in Missouri. According to Nora, Bass Pro Shops was unfairly targeting employees who smoked by charging them an extra fee under its health insurance plan. The only way to get rid of the fee was to stay smoke free for 90 days, which Nora argued wasn't fair or realistic for everyone. Now, if you're not familiar with Bass Pro Shops, you should know that they are a major American retailer that specializes in gear for hunting, fishing, camping, boating, you name it. Now, they were founded in 1972 in Springfield, Missouri, but they have grown their stores into locations all across North America and Canada. They're also known for creating massive destination stores that feel like indoor national parks with giant aquariums, wildlife displays, and even hotels like their famous store inside the Memphis Pyramid. Bass Pro Shops employs tens of thousands of people, so when a company of this size rolls out a benefit program affecting thousands of employees, it carries a major impact. So here's what happened. Bass Pro Shop's health plan, it was a self-funded plan. And this means that instead of paying premiums to an insurance company like Aetna or Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare, but instead of paying one of those companies to provide insurance for its employees, Bass Pro Shops actually paid their employees' medical claims directly out of their own funds. And this self funded insurance plan also included a wellness program. Wellness programs are designed to encourage healthier habits, but they often come with penalties or surcharges if employees don't meet certain health goals, or rewards like lower premiums if they do. These programs, they're meant to promote health, but they can end up costing employees more money if they don't meet the program's standards. Now, this particular lawsuit focused on tobacco surcharges, but wellness programs often look at different types of health factors like whether someone's cholesterol levels are too high, if they're over the standard for body mass index or BMI, and things like that. And every wellness program, it has to comply with federal rules, including providing reasonable alternatives if an employee can't meet the standard that is imposed on them by the wellness program. Now, this type of benefit plan, it has to comply with ERISA, or the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, which sets requirements for how these plans have to be managed. And under this wellness plan, employees who use tobacco were charged an annual surcharge of $2,080, and that happened between the years of 2018 and 2024. The idea was to encourage employees to quit smoking by making it financially burdensome to continue. But there was a problem. Employees alleged that Bass Pro failed to offer a reasonable alternative as required under federal law. Now, a reasonable alternative standard means the employer has to give its employees another way to earn the reward or avoid the penalty. In the case of smoking surcharges, this often means offering a free smoking cessation program or waiving the surcharge if an employee's doctor says quitting isn't medically appropriate. Without providing this alternative wellness programs, they can violate federal law, which require that employees are not treated unfairly because of their health status. Now, in this case, Bass Pro required employees to be tobacco free for 90 days to remove the surcharge, but this only applied to future charges. Employees were not refunded previous charges, and that's what they argued violated the rules. In this case, employees argued that Bass Pro Shops did two things wrong. First, they didn't offer an alternative for employees who couldn't quit smoking, which is required under federal law. Second, even when employees did quit, Bass Pro only stopped charging them going forward. They didn't refund any of the fees employees had already paid, which they argued was unfair and also in violation of federal law. And a federal judge agreed with them, and it resulted in a $4.95 million settlement in June of 2025. There were about 5,500 employees who paid the surcharge, and they are expected to receive average payouts of about $580 each. Now, you might be wondering, if they paid around $2,000 a year as a smoker because of the surcharge under the wellness program, why is it that each person is getting only about $580 from the settlement? Well, here's how class action settlements work. The total settlement amount in this case was 4.95 million, but that has to cover a lot of things: attorney fees, legal costs, administration expenses, whatever is left over, that's then divided by the employees in that class action lawsuit. The purpose is to negotiate a compromise that avoids the risk and costs of a long trial. So, while employees didn't get a full refund, they did receive compensation, and Bass Pro Shops changed its policies as a result of the lawsuit. This case is a major wake up call for employers, especially those who are trying to do the right thing, because wellness programs, they have to comply with both HIPAA and ERISA regulations and reasonable standards, reasonable alternatives. They have to be given to employees, and they have to be real. They have to be clearly communicated. And the penalties that are imposed on employees, they can't be retroactively non-refundable if alternatives weren't also made available to those employees. And if you're an HR professional watching this, it's really important to review your company's wellness incentives and surcharges. You want to make sure they're fully compliant with federal law. And for employees, remember, you have rights. If your employer is charging you extra for things like smoking without offering you a fair alternative, that could be against the law. And if your rights at work are violated, you have legal options. So if this is happening to you right now, just remember, when one employee speaks up, it can make a big difference for you and for others at work. It's also important to know that Bass Pro Shops isn't alone in taking this approach with its employee health insurance benefits. Many other companies have faced lawsuits over wellness programs that didn't follow federal rules. For example, Honeywell, they were sued by the EEOC just a few years ago for penalties tied to biometric screenings and smoking surcharges, which were alleged to violate the Americans with Disability Act and GINA. We're often quick to think about discrimination in terms of things like race or disability, but there are other types of discrimination too, including health related discrimination. This case highlights one of those areas, discrimination against employees for their health habits like smoking. And while it's not always easy for employers to know exactly what's permissible under the law, ignorance isn't an excuse. Especially for a large company like Bass Pro Shops, they have the resources to hire lawyers and HR professionals who can guide them properly in these areas. But the reality is, wellness programs, whether by design or by default, they help employers offset their health insurance costs. For example, if a company is paying $1,200 a month for an employee's health insurance, and then they impose extra fees on employees who don't meet certain wellness requirements, that monthly cost can effectively drop to, let's say, $900 per employee. Then you multiply that by thousands of employees, and it adds up to significant savings for the company. If you want to learn more about disability rights in the workplace, check out my disability playlist. I'll link it below. And don't forget to subscribe because I post new videos every week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.